I'm pleased to present to you this time-honored treasure of how to make a yo-yo doll, a snowman yo-yo doll to be specific. My grandmother used to make these, and they are beautiful. You may wish to make one too. Follow me with this step-by-step tutorial on how to make a snowman yo-yo doll. You'll need a doll pin and some thick cord or thread, cotton or nylon. We will need 66 yo-yos and 3 buttons. So this is how you can do it. Use a mason jar lid. You may have a yo-yo maker. These work just fine. Definitely some strong cotton thread and a needle. The doll needle is very helpful in assembling the doll. So in the time being, you can use a regular straight pin with cotton thread and cut out your circles to a 3.5 inch size or larger, whichever you like. This is a standard size mason jar lid that I am using. To make this yo-yo, pick up your fabric on the top. And when you do that, you're going to go through the fabric as I am showing here. The reason why is we want the raw edge to flip under as we form this yo-yo. So you're just using a basting stitch, but you're picking up fabric and going out of it, staying on the top so that little edge will fold under. As I said, if you have a yo-yo maker, that's fine. You could use that. I just wanted to show you the old-fashioned way and how you can do it really quick. You have to make 66 of these to create your yo-yo doll. So when you get around to where you begun, you're going to pull the thread that has the knot in it, and we want to pull this together so that it all gathers up, and we're going to tie it into a knot. So that is why if you put a knot on the beginning, you can pull that out a little bit and use it to tie to your thread and create a knot there. That will secure your yo-yo and keep it formed and together. We don't want them to get lazy or fall apart. And then just kind of push it out with your fingers, and voila, we have our yo-yo. It may have a little hole in the center, that's fine, or you can make it larger and put polyfill. Clip off the thread, and you are ready to begin making another yo-yo. These are about a 50-cent piece size, so if you want your yo-yo for your yo-yo doll to be larger, you can do that. And you can add polyfill in the center. Make sure you select more than one color. Whatever color you're going with, you want some contrasting colors. That gives it more character and adds texture and detail to your yo-yo doll. Once you see how this is assembled, you'll understand, and then you can do them appropriately. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take our heavy-duty cotton thread, twine as I call it. We're going to put a knot in it, and because the eye on the doll needle allows us, we can get our cord through the eye of that needle. Now when you run it through the yo-yos, I don't want you to think about the center as much as I want you to think about trying to get it close to the center, and you'll understand why as we move along. Now once you have your 15 strung together, 2 different sets, a total of 30, 15 on the left, 15 on the right, you're going to run those cords up through the eyes of the button. So you need a button that has 2 eyes on it. It can be a small button like this one, or it can be a large one. It is strictly up to you. As you see this assembled, you'll be able to decide. Now we're going to tie that into a knot. You can use this in a method of tying it loosely so that the yo-yos are shifting and moving more, or you can snug it up like I have here. And just make your adjustments with your hand. Leave the tails on your cord. We're going to need them. So we have our legs assembled. Now we have our arms assembled the very same way. And once again, I've run the cords up through the eyes of the button, and I'm tying it in a knot on top of that button. The buttons give your yo-yo doll movement. So this do-it-yourself yo-yo doll is going to be like a puppet. And that's why we need these cords. So let me show you. Basically, you're going to put a knot in your cord and start stringing your yo-yos onto your cord. This is for the body. So I know that I need 13 yo-yos to assemble the body. Now I've run it through one time. Now I'm going to run the cord right back down through the center of all 13 of these yo-yos for the body. That's why I said whenever you go to put the legs and arms together, you don't have to hit it straight in the middle. You can basically go to the left, and then when you go back through it, go down through the right. Just make sure you double run that cord once, string them all together, and then back down to the bottom. It will give it more durability, flexibility, and less probability of any of your yo-yos coming loose or coming off, especially if you were making this for a child. We don't want the parts to come off, and we want to ensure that the yo-yo will last for years. Plus, it will be washable. Now, I've run that cord back up through the center. I know that sounds like repetition, but it does give it insurance. And when I run it back up to the top, I'm going to tie it in a knot. When I came through with the original knot, I went back down and did not tie it. Now I'm going back up to the top because we need to tie the body into the arms and legs. So if you originally strung your yo-yos through the center at the gathering, you won't have to do what I'm having to do here. You will only go down and back up. But since I started backwards, I've now got to get my cord back to the top. So I ended up running that cord through the body 3 times just because I wasn't paying attention when I went to string it together. Nonetheless, 2 to 3 times through there is fine. Still gives the yo-yo doll mobility. Now, once you get it back to the top, I want you to tie a knot. Do not cut off the cord. We're going to need it. Once again, the yo-yo doll is more like a puppet doll. So I've stretched it out, got it relaxed a little bit. They're all formed together. I've got my knots. I've got my cord running. Let's tie the legs on. Let's assemble our yo-yo doll. We have our 2 cords coming out of the top above the button. Now the button works like a joint for your yo-yo doll. When you do this, you've already got a cord running out the top of the body. Leave it there. The 2 for the legs, we're going to run right back through the yo-yos. And that's going to tie our body on to our doll. And that's why the long doll needle is going to be your best friend in assembling your yo-yo doll. So I've got that pulled back through. Now I need to restring my needle, the cords that are coming out of the left and the right leg. And once I do that, I'm going to also run it through the center of the body. So in the time being, I've got my cord at the top now, tying on these legs, left and right. Now I'm going to do the right leg. And once I get it threaded through the eye of the needle, it'll make it easy for me to just slip that cord right up through the center of that body. And yes, you're going to have a little bit of play, but once you get it to the top, you'll be able to pull and push the yo-yos back down next to the legs. You can do these yo-yo dolls loosely or tightly. These were my first ones, so they were all a little more snug, but it still had a great deal of mobility, as you'll see in the finished product. Okay, so now we have all our cords coming out of the body. We have 3 cords coming out now. We need to get our knot tied off. Do not cut them, just tie a knot. And once you tie that knot, that's going to secure the body to those legs. Still has great mobility, but we got to secure it. And once we get these tied, since we already have a button in the joint area of the arms, we won't have to add one at this point. Okay, so we got all 3 coming out now. Let's tie on the arms. So watch carefully, because we've got 2 cords coming out as well. Don't get confused. It's already tied in a knot. And these are his little arms. Now, we have 15 on the left, 15 on the right, forming the legs. On the arms, we have 11. 11 on the left and 11 on the right. And then the body, we had 13. As I said, you may select to cut your yo-yos and make them larger for the center of his body to make those 13 for the body to be broader is strictly up to you. It's a personal choice. So as you can see, to tie on the arms, I'm basically going back down through the center of the 13 yo-yos that formed his body. Now once I get both those cords ran down through his body, I can tie them off into a knot. This is taking a moment. Be patient with yourself because you got to get it through all those yo-yos. And with it being a cord and a long needle, it's kind of tight and snug, but it will go through there with no problem. And I elected to use cotton fabrics. I recommend that you use cotton fabrics. These are timeless treasure heirlooms because as they grow in age, they are going to be beloved by everyone. And even the person you made it for is going to treasure it. And these can be passed down through family members, or they can just be a comforting gift to someone you really care about. It's a lot of time invested in making your yo-yos because you can sit and do those in front of the television and just do it in a comfortable state. It's very, very distressing and eases your stress. Now I've got those cords going and I can cut them. Now I still need to thread those cords where I ran them back up through the body to put the button on. And that is at the top of the body because that is where his neck is per se going to be to tie on his head. So as you can see, once I got those cords back to the top with his legs tied onto them, I added the button, threaded it, needle, and now I'm going to run it back through the body. Get that all situated. We will have a third button. The third button, we will be connecting it after we put a collar on. So that's where the 66th yo-yo comes into place. We've got this long cord up through the body that came from the legs, and so we have 3 cords, and now we're putting on a collar. I wanted to make his hat, so I cut a piece of fabric, the roundness, and I created a pom-pom to make his head. And when I created this little toboggan out of the fabric, I clipped it and frayed it, and then I got me some pom-poms from Dollar Tree that I'm going to add on. And I decided to crochet him a scarf with some buttons on it to truly make him very primitive style, and he will hold up and stand the test of time. And once you do that, you can add bells to each pom-pom on each arm and each leg. So you'll need 5 pom-poms. And I made the head much bigger, added his nose, small black pom-poms for the smile in his eyes, added a button for his scarf, and voila, we have our Yo-Yo Snowman. Thank you so much for watching. This is Elizabeth. Until the next DIY, while I'll be crafting, y'all. Merry Christmas.